Hello there and welcome to another episode in my Citroen Relay van build series. In today's video we're going to be tackling the floor. Now, because I like to try and do things a little bit differently, I did explore, are there any better or different methods to the tried and tested one? And actually, when it comes to the floor, no, I don't think there is. So I'm going to go with the masses and follow what everyone else is doing and go with a plywood floor with insulation board underneath. So I've been to my local builders merchants and we have our 12mm hardwood ply here. I've got 3 sheets of that, and if I just come around here, we have the insulation board, 25mm and 8x4 sheets. Interestingly, my builders merchant does this Manok brand, although the popular ones tend to be Celotex and Kingspan, although essentially at the end of the day they're all the same thing, so that's fine. And if we come around to the side of the van, and I have my wood battens. So what I've got here is 25mm by 50mm. These are what they are roofing battens, although they're green dipped, so they're green on the end as opposed to blue, but they are essentially the same thing. Just got them propped up there at the moment, just drying out, because in builders merchants, of course, all these sorts of things are kept outside. So when I first got them, they were all sopping wet. So a couple of days in the sunshine and the wind will sort that out. As you can see, I've cut my first piece and done a dry fit on that. My seat frame over here is already in position, and although the bolts are through to hold it in place, it's not actually fixed from underneath yet, because that'll have to come in and out several times. And this is an L4 length one, but actually 3 sheets of ply are going to do this just fine. We've got one here, one which I'm going to cut over here. The other half of that cut will do the back, and then where I'm stood here at the back, the 3rd sheet will do that, and I'll have about 1/4 of a sheet of ply left over, so 3 is still plenty. So I thought the only thing I would do really in this video is touch on a few hints and tips which I've picked up along the way for doing the flooring. First of all is when you're cutting your shapes. Let me just show you my jigsaw here. In a jigsaw, the standard wood cutting blade is like this, which is a bit on the fierce side, and if you use that on this plywood, that's just going to rip it to shreds. So I don't do that. In my jigsaw here, although it's maybe a little tricky to see, what I actually have is an HSS metal cutting bit, which has got very nice fine teeth on it. So let's have a look at a piece I've done on the first board I put in, and as you can see on both sides of that, we've got actually a pretty good clean cut with not an awful lot of tear out. So well worth using the metal cutting bit as opposed to that fierce wood cutting bit in there. So that would be my top tip number 1, is use the right bit in your jigsaw. My tip number 2 is going to be, when you are cutting and measuring your wood, do try to remember that this is going to be sat 25mm higher than where you're going to be placing it when you dry fit. So if I come down behind this seat frame here, where this upright is here, down here what you've got is, if you follow this line along here, the bottom of this upright support sticks out very slightly around here. Now there's a temptation to want to mark and cut around that, but of course you need to remember, when you're coming up by 25mm, actually you've got a fairly straight run through there, so you don't need to worry too much about cutting around those sorts of things. So just bear that 25mm height increase into account when you are measuring and cutting your plywood. And finally, my tip number 3 has to be regarding the cost. Now, I picked up all my materials for this, the battens, the plywood and the 25mm PIR board from my local builders merchants. Now at the time of making this video, I worked out how much that was going to cost from somewhere like Wix, and it was going to be in the region of £227 for the roof battens, 3 sheets of ply and 3 sheets of PIR board. I went to my local builders merchant and got exactly the same stuff, albeit different brands and green battens as opposed to blue battens, but it only cost me 171 including VAT. So don't assume the DIY stores are always the best place to go. Often they're not, although, you know, in all due respect to them, they do a good job. But check out your local builders merchants as well. You might be pleasantly surprised at what savings there are to be had. Okay, so I've made my first long cut with my circular saw. And as is always the case with circular saws, it does chomp and chew at the edge here a little bit in places. It's just inevitable, I'm afraid. It's one of those things with circular saws. So what I'm going to do is, that piece I've cut is to go in here and the other bit behind over there. So I'm going to orientate that appropriately so the cut edge is along the side over there and the good edge is in the middle here to butt up against the existing one. So the next job I've done is I've rescued from the garage my original ply line floor, which is here. So what I'm going to do is, so my good edge is this side, my cut edge is over there, so I'm going to offer this up here. A bit of cardboard here that I put on there in episode 1 called Preparations is still there. If you haven't seen that, then do watch that video. And it's fantastic, it still stayed in one piece with that time in the garage. So what I'm doing is just lining this up along here, making sure it's in line, making sure we're in line here, which we are. Excellent. And then all we simply have to do is scribe round here with my pencil and scribe round my piece of cardboard, like so. Right, let's cut that out with the jigsaw and then measure and cut the length that we need to butt up to the seat frame, and then we'll have a dry fit and see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm just dry fitting this first piece, and well, look at that, my cardboard corner did the trick perfectly, so I'm very happy with that. We're just a tiny little gap in here. I've got a good edge there, so what I think is happening is on this corner here, where the van sort of slopes in like this, it's just catching right down in there. But where the temptation is to draw a line like this and cut some more out, let's remember we're going to be 25mm up, so I'm not going to be catching on that slight slope when this floor actually gets fitted properly, which is going to allow that just to move this way very slightly, which is going to pull it round and close this gap. So I'm quite happy with that for the dry fit. Just while we're on the seat frame, I just thought I would mention that I'm going to do a separate whole video on this seat frame. But this frame actually came from Solway camper conversions. You know, the people that make Solway panels, those plastic panels that you put on the side. They also make this seat frame. What I liked about this is the height of it is designed specifically for Fiat Ducatos, Citroen Relays, Boxers, etc. And it matches the height of the seats in the front. So when you put the cushions on the top, the height of the cushions is exactly the same as the height in the driver's seat. You don't have to mess about packing out and building up from underneath to get the height the same. And it's a nice solid sturdy frame, as you can see, and it's got a nice gap underneath that you can put the Truma boiler in, which I'm going to do. I've made, as you may well be noticing, quite a few modifications up here. There's a good reason for that, because I'm actually going to try an experiment, and my experiment is, can I use the cushions from the original front double seat and reuse those here. That's going to be a bit of a test and a challenge for sure, and is going to need an awful lot of modifications, but I'm going to give it a go, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, what I can do is simply take my modifications here off and then follow the normal course of action, which is to put a piece of ply on with a cushion on the top here and a piece of ply at the back with a cushion there, and follow what the normal standard is for this. So no harm in trying this first, and I can always revert back to the conventional cushion method afterwards if it doesn't work. But like I say, I'll cover that in a separate standalone video, because that's quite interesting, the things I've had to do to try and make that fit. Okay, so I've got all my pieces dry fit. One thing I'm quite pleased with is we've got one big sheet here, which is where most of the foot traffic is going to be. And then we've got one join across the middle here and one join running lengthways here. And around the side, not a bad fit really. It's pretty good around here, so I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is take all this out, mark where the lines are, so where I definitely need battens underneath to screw down to where the joins are. And I think I'm going to put my battens going across the van this way and working their way back in that orientation rather than lengthways, because we do have a 4 meter length in the back here, and I've only got 3 meter battens, so that's as good a reason as any to go the other way around. So I finished doing the battens now, and how I fixed mine is the battens going this way across the van. I fixed in about 4 places with some self drilling screws going straight through into the floor. I've also put some adhesive sealant underneath each one of these, just for belt and braces on that. And then the ones going this way, I've put some sealant adhesive underneath, and then also I've driven a screw through from this way into each one, and I've just kind of done that as I worked my way back. So these are fixed really nice and secure, and there's also some sealant adhesive underneath. So what we have here, this is where the shower tray is going to be. This is why we have some extra pieces in here to fix the shower cubicle too. And if I just move back a little bit, and then what I've done here is I've left a thin channel here, and this is where I'm going to run my water pipes from one side of the van to the other, which will then be nicely hidden underneath the floor. So next job is to cut all the PIR board to fill in these holes, and I'll get on with that now. So it's a few days later now, because rain keeps causing delays to the build, and also I had to fit the fly screen on the sliding door, which is behind me there, and I've done a separate video on that, so do check out that one. And because I've been dashing in and out of the showers today trying to get this floor finished, haven't really filmed an awful lot unfortunately, but I'll show you the finished article now anyway. So we pick up from where I had put the battens in, and then what I did is cut some 25mm PIR board, and that went in between each of the sections. I then foil taped all the joints on that. Not so much for a vapor barrier as most people do, but actually just for a moisture water barrier purposes. So if I did have any spillages or leakages through this floor, it's going to sit on top of that insulation as opposed to work its way down into the metal floor of the van. At least it's got a chance to dry out then with the heat inside the vehicle. So that's why I foil taped those. And I did mention before my channel that I was putting here. So as you can see here, I have red and blue water pipes just popping up through there, and also the gas line. I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, why not run the gas pipe under there as well? That way I can get gas to my cooker and to the Truma boiler, which will be this way, and come up through the floor, probably over on this side of the van here, to make that connection, because I'm going to have an underslung water tank. But I got the potential to actually run this kind of either direction, really. So there's the surplus pipes there, and over this side we have the hot and cold services for the sink, and the gas pipe for the cooker. And down in this corner, they're just going to come up nicely here and then do a simple bend round and connect on through. So that should work out just fine. I'm very happy with how the fly screen and the sliding door ended up. Just as I predicted in my sliding door video, we've got the rail for the fly screen here, my 12mm ply just on the top, and if I come round in here and just a fraction shy there, enough to get my aluminium trim into there to finish off this edge, and the fly screen still operates through there nicely. So that's all gone quite well into plan, so I'm happy with that. So around the back here, I've got my plywood on the top here, there's a batten just under there, slightly recessed out of the way, and then once the flooring is down, I'll put an aluminium sort of stair nosing on that to finish that off nicely, and that looks like that. So that is how I've done my floor, which is I know very similar to the way many others have done their floors, but it does seem to be a tried and tested method, and the most popular one. I've had to leave the hole there where the seat frame is going to be, because that bolts directly down through the floor, and then I'm going to fill that in with some again some PIR board and some timbers, and then the timber that's sat on top at the moment will go in there to bring that up to the same level, and then the Truma boiler will tuck inside and fits in there nicely. And it's starting to rain again just as I'm finishing off. That's about right, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're enjoying this build series and you've watched some of the other ones, thank you very much, and do consider to subscribe. That would be very handy. And if you've liked this one, hit that like button. That would be great. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.